Continuing our series on H-1B layoffs. What happens if your adjustment of status is pending and you were laid off? What happens to your status at that point in time? Do you still worry about whether your green card is going to come or not? Hi there, my name is Neha Mahajan. I am the American alien, and joining me today is Attorney Ishan Anand of Chugh Law Firm, all the way from Virginia. And this is the American Alien Podcast. It's not in their control that they get laid off, right? And once they are laid off, while their adjustment of status is still pending, what happens to them? Because it's just mind blowing to me the fact that first you have to wait, God knows, 15, 10, 20 years for even your dates to become current under employment-based categories, EB2, EB3. Once they become current, you file for your adjustment of status. USCIS takes forever to adjust your status. And then what happens? Suddenly you're laid off, right? So I want to know from your point of view, what will happen to their green card?
Okay, nothing will happen, according to me. Again, all right. So let's not confuse between H1 and green card, right? They are two different processes. I-140 adjustment is different. H1B is different. Now, if they are laid off on the H1B and they have pending adjustment, they can just still continue with their adjustment pending status because pending adjustment in itself is a status.
Okay.
It gives you status to stay in the US and work. Once you have an EAD, pending adjustment, which would be C9, you
Right.
can work for any employer.
But my question here is, the whole basis of getting that adjustment of status was this particular job.
No,
The
there's no
employer who
job.
filed for your, but the employer files for your adjustment of status, right?
That's okay. The employer filed for future job, not
Okay.
this job.
Okay.
Okay, so job will come when you get a green card. That's when you have to apply. That's when you have to join this employer, right?
Okay.
So I have seen many cases where employer files a green card and employee end up getting work for other employers. Meaning
Right.
one employer A files for the green card, but
Right.
employee never works for that employer. That happens.
Don't you think USCIS should technically deny the green card just because the green card is also based on the perm that was applied for?
Yeah.
Right? On the basis of the job that you have. Although it's for future employment, right? But just help me.
But that job is still there, right? The employer is not saying that I'm revoking your I-140.
Okay.
And the employer is not saying that I'm taking away the future job. The employer is saying I'm taking away because right now we don't have work for this particular H1B job. So here's the thing. So please, so this needs to be clear up. Like H1B is different.
Yeah.
And I-140 is different.
Right.
Okay. So there are cases where you are working on H1B as a software developer, and the perm is for maybe manager.
Okay.
Okay. So your perm job is a managerial job, maybe as a CEO or maybe as a whatever.
But perm is linked to the H1B, isn't it?
No, it's not linked.
It's on the basis of the job duties that you have.
No, perm. So suppose you are hired on H1B by Google.
Yeah.
And Microsoft can file your perm. It can happen, right? Generally, it's not like it usually happens the same way, but it can happen.
Yeah.
I can file for your perm.
Right.
It's not like required that the H1 employer needs to file for perm. It generally happens that way, but it's not the law.
Okay.
All right. So the perm can be something else. So here's the thing: you are losing H1B. You are losing your status of H1B. If you have adjustment pending, you can stay in the US, and if you have your EAD EAD card with the adjustment pending, you can work for any employer. you want,
Okay.
because that's unconditional employment.
Okay.
Okay? The law says, let's not talk about the law, but the law says, my understanding is,
Law is gray anyways. Yeah.
my understanding is that the EAD 09 C9
Yeah.
EAD is unconditional EAD. You can work for any employer. Once you have your green card, that's when you have to work for the employer who filed for your green card, meaning the firm. Now,
Okay.
question. Now, let me explain again. If the if the adjustment is pending for 180 days or more, you can change your employer altogether.
Yeah.
Meaning, suppose employer A filed for your I-140 and
Yeah.
adjustment is pending for 180 days or more,
Yeah.
and you find employer B, you can move to employer B. You do not have to ever come back for
Which is
work,
right. Which I so agree with you. And this
right?
happens all the time. We see this happening around us all the time.
So,
A third company comes up and files for your perm, or
no, they don't even have to file for a firm.
okay,
They just have to file, which is called supplement J.
okay,
They are just saying that it's called portability. You are
right,
porting
right.
employers now.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
they don't even have to file a firm.
perfect.
They can simply port your green card to their company. Okay,
After
and
180 days, though.
after 180 days of pendency of your
Yeah,
adjustment status, all
yeah.
right. Now what I feel is C09 EAD is unconditional. It is not you are not required to work for A or B or C or D.
Right.
You can work for anybody. You can even work for your own self while the pending. That's my understanding.
Okay,
While the pendency of 09.
okay.
Okay. Once you have the green card, that's when you are required to work for your employer. You file for the suppose company A filed for the green card, meaning I-140 and the adjustment is pending. You receive an EAD, and then you want to work for company Y.
Yeah.
You can go there and work with them. What happens when you are nearing your interview and green card? Once you have a green card, that's when we have to see who filed for your firm, if you are working for that employer, or if you are not working for that employer, did you file uh, a portability application, supplement J?
Okay.
And if a new employer file a portability application, supplement J, are you working for that employer or not?
It's confusing.
No, it is, because that's why we come into picture.
Right.
If it would be very easy, then everybody would be doing it. So here's the thing: H1B, and you are laid off. Now there are two things. Some beneficiaries, what they do once they have the EAD, they start using the EAD instead of their H status.
Yeah, that's
Some
true.
beneficiaries still continue, because some lawyers say that it's better that if they continue their H status.
Yeah, parallelly. I mean,
Okay.
they always advise to keep their ed status
There are
active.
so it's all about lawyers who wants what. All right. So suppose
Isn't that
a
a safer,
beneficiary.
safer option, though? Sorry, I just cut you.
Depends what kind of case you have. If you have a strong case, I would never recommend work on H1. I would say you are a free bird. Go ahead, do whatever you want. So let's not mix up. Mix up meaning, let's not mix up non-immigrant status to an immigrant status.
Okay.
All right. So H1B is a non-immigrant status. Now we're talking about adjustment. So here's the thing:
Right.
if you are keeping two statuses, meaning you are keeping your adjustment pending and you are working on H and you are laid off, you do not have to leave the country
Okay.
because your adjustment is pending. All right. You can stay. Now let's add one more thing to it. You have adjustment pending with a work permit C9, all right, and
Mm-hmm.
using your H1 status and you are laid off,
Okay.
you can now take your adjustment EAD and work for any employer you want.
Okay.
I would recommend that the new employer you go and work for should be in a similar nature of jobs. The job I would recommend that you go for a similar kind of job.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
work in a similar type of whatever you do.
Right.
Okay, so if you do that, you're okay. You don't have to leave the country
Okay.
because as you file your adjustment, you are authorized to stay in the U.S.
Okay.
And your I-140 job, you did not lose your I-140 job.
Right.
You lost your H-1B.
Okay. This is great information, by the way, and this is going to come in handy for so many people who are just super tensed about what to do and how to even navigate this situation. So thank you for sharing that expertise with me. Really.
If you have questions, make sure you go and find proper advice and find
Yes.
people who can give you proper advice. Do not just research on Google because there are things on Google that's not true.
Right.
People, when they say they are all not attorneys. All right. So, and also do not mix up your current job with your perm I-140 job.
Okay.
You are laid off by your current employer and using your H-1B status.
Okay.
You, as long as you still have the I-140 approved and your I-140 job is still valid, which is a future job,
Right.
you are authorized to stay, you are authorized to work if you have the EAD with you.
Okay.
You don't have to
Perfect.
leave the country.
Perfect. Well, people must be wishing ChatGPT could give them some legal advice, but that's not happening anytime soon. And that's why you need real time attorneys to give you the right kind of advice.